Next, write down. This is the second step. Write down. This is the second step. The second bhava indicates your facial beauty, right? Your facial beauty. Now write down. Number one, the graha which signifies facial beauty is Shukra, right? The Karaka graha for facial beauty. Anything to do with beauty is Chandra. Anything to do with extreme beauty is Shukra, right? Anything to do with facial beauty here, the Karaka graha, you should know all the Karaka grahas by heart, is Shukra, right? Shukra is also your cheeks, right? Shukra is also your cheeks. Which is the bhava associated with your face, facial beauty? It is the second bhava. So, when the second bhava from Shukra is getting into a bala, see, generically predicting second bhava Lord strong, you will have money. Second bhava Lord strong, you will have finances. Second bhava Lord strong, you will have a good family. This anybody can predict. You don't have to study astrology under me. But if you go and predict like this, the person will be like, which among this is correct, which among this is not correct. Because if you give 5 points, out of this 5 points, it cannot be that, 4 points misfire. So which of this? When you say the second bhava in my horoscope is strong, are you telling me that I'm a bank manager? Are you telling me that I have money? Are you telling me that, I have facial beauty? What is it that you're implying? So now you need to break. You need to dissect the horoscope bit by bit. And that is when you can actually get into a precision. So what is it that we are doing now? We are breaking it up. We are dissecting the second bhava to get into a precision mode. So the Karaka graha for facial beauty is Shukra. Again, as per the bhava, we have the second bhava. So when the second bhava from Shukra is getting into a bala, I hope I don't have to repeat what I mean by a bala. Or if it is associated with the Shubha graha, then the person's face will be beautiful. The cheeks will be slightly puffed up, right? The cheeks will be slightly puffed up. The face will look nice, will have an attractive face. When the second bhava, see, you need to understand this rule here. First, you look at the second bhava. Then, after that, what you want to dissect. If I want to dissect, let's say, tomorrow, going and finding a girl for your son. So, automatically, you get a horoscope. You see the second bhava. You've analyzed the second bhava. Now, you want to know how this tree will look. Then, automatically, you need to go to what? Second from Shukra. So, first you start with second. Then, what is it that you want to know about the second? Then you go. As of now, in which portion we are in? We are in facial beauty. So next, when the second from Shukra is associated with Ashubha graha, right? Association can be where, how can it be? It can be a graha, Ashubha graha is there, or a drishti of Ashubha graha is there. Then the beauty of the face will get spoiled. Beauty products, powder, scent, they will be allergic to it, right? They would be allergic to it. Next, wherever Shukra is, remember when we are talking about facial beauty, we are talking about Lakshana. And there is something called as a Lakshana, which means what? When you look at his face itself, when you look at a face itself, there is a Lakshana associated with that face. So when the second from Shukra, right, immediately go there. If that is good, then there is a Lakshana, there is a beauty, there is a Tejas associated with the face. Again, if it is spoiled, then automatically what I told you happens. Now, let's go to the next stage. The second bhava indicates your sight, your vision, your eyes, right? Again, write down. Right eye is sun. Right eye is sun. Please make sure that you write each and every point that I'm giving you. Why? Because each and every point is precious. 5 years from now, you won't forget this day. Each and every point that you're taking is something which would support you from now throughout your life, years after years, right? So one, for you to study, for you to teach other people. So here we are talking about what? Sun, which indicates your right eye. What is the bhava associated here? Second. So when the second from sun is afflicted, then the right eye will have problem. The right eye will have problem. Next, you write down. Left eye is equal to moon. The bhava associated with the left eye is 12th. So when the 12th from Chandra is affected, then the left eye will have problem. Problem is there. Now you need to go into the deeper level. Is it the left eye or is it the right eye? Please keep this in mind. Astrology is easy as long as you find the right source, as long as you go procedure by procedure, step by step. That is all is astrology. There is nothing easier than astrology. But the only thing is, you should know that, you know what, there is a small, proper procedure that all of you need to follow. Again, as long as you follow the procedure, automatically all of you can become very, very good, extremely good astrologers. Every week, whenever you're having the session, make sure that you dedicate the time for this session. See, for practicing astrologers, I always say every week, it should not be that, you know what, I have this work, that work. Whenever I have free time, I will come and learn astrology. That is not the way it works. That way you won't become good astrologer. You should dedicate, or you should give your complete time towards astrology. Even if somebody is telling you, you know what, I will give you 1 lakh rupees today, give a consultation. No. Because if you dedicate yourself with this time, automatically you will be able to make the best amount of use of astrology, right? Which means what we are trying to do here is we are trying to break the Karakathwas, and then we are going to segregate, link, and predict. Next, write down. When the second from Shukra is getting into a bala, then the finances will keep coming in a person's life. What do we mean by finances here? When we are referring to finances here, we are talking about your daily finances, the daily liquid cash that circulates, right? The money that you use for your daily needs. You know, today I need some money, which means, let's say, you know, you are having a shop which is into a retail business, something to do with sales counter. Or even if you want to employ a person who is going to actually be in the sales desk collecting money, or if you're having a retail company where you're talking about a daily cycle of money, then automatically the second from Shukra should be strong. Then only you would be able to go about and get daily money, right? When the second from Shukra is strong, then automatically there would be a daily flow of money. Some people, you know, they would buy something, they would go about and save something, they would want to keep that for 5 months, 6 months, 7 months, 1 year, and then they would want to reap dividends from that. That is not Shukra. Shukra is, today I want this money, tomorrow I want this money, today I'm going to spend this money, tomorrow I'm going to spend this money, which means the money which is used for daily circulation, regular needs, conveniences, rotation, or what we call as money associated for day-to-day needs. When, next point, when from wherever Guru is positioned, placed, the second bhava is getting into a bala, then big money will come and big savings will come. Look at the difference here. When I spoke about Shukra, I never spoke about savings. But when I speak about Guru, I'm speaking about earnings. I'm also speaking about what? I'm also speaking about savings as well, right? Which means money will also come, savings will also come, right? This is the second from Guru. So if somebody wants to start a business, right? Of course, I will be giving you another concept, which will be shortly discussed. But when somebody is doing something, will I earn something? Will I get some money? Will there be a regular flow of money? Second from Shukra. Will I be able to save that money? Will I be able to earn big money? The second from Guru, right? See, whenever we are referring to what? Whenever we are referring to the Panabarasthana, which means what? The bhavas which actually go about and indicate wealth or money general, it is 2, 5, 8, 11, which are called as the succeedent houses, right? Which means when we go to the 5th bhava, I will give you a set of rules for money. Again, when we go to the 8th bhava, I will give you a set of rules for money. When we go to the 11th bhava, again, we will get into a set of rules for money, right? As of now, we are talking about daily money. That is what Shukra is associated with, which means either the second from Shukra, it should be good, or what? The second from Guru, it should be good. That is very, very good, in fact. That is how it is. So now what have we done? We have covered money. We have covered sight. We have covered facial beauty, right? We have covered, now let's get into the Vakisthanam as well. Now, since, as I was discussing here, let's say we are talking about a Graha, right? Let's say we are talking about a Graha which is, let's say for Mars. And let's say Mars is getting into a VAKRA. You need to understand this concept also. So now, if I have to look at the second from Mars, which house would you want me to look at? Would I look at the 10th house or 12th house? Can anybody help me with this? So here, whenever you're looking at a Graha in a Vakragati, right? Automatically, you need to move in the reverse motion. Now, I'm not telling all of you should do this. You try it. When you get results, then you stick on with this. So whenever I'm talking about a Graha who's in a Vakragati like this, right? And if I had to look at the second, immediately I should not go here, but I should go in reverse motion, right? So now we would be going to what? We would be going to the Vak or speech, and this is where we would be using the concept of reverse. See here, the Grahas which indicate your Vak or speech, they are Mercury and Rahu, both of them, right? So Mercury, speech. All of you just open your mouth. What you can do is you can just extend your tongue. Just extend your tongue. That tongue is Rahu. The eloquence that comes from that speech, that is Mercury, right? So the Karaka Graha for speech, many of you would know as Mercury. Good. But Rahu is also the Karaka Graha for speech. See, there is a lot of connection here, right? Speech. Then we are ideally talking about Rahu. Then we are ideally talking about expert business. So somewhere in life, remedy, write down. Whenever somebody is having a problem in earning in his life, tell him you should change the way you speak. If somebody is saying, I'm having a problem in my earning, the remedy for that is you change your speech, your earning will improve. The way you speak, what you are speaking, you change. Because your earning is also the second bhava. Your speech is also the second bhava. So if you change your speech, you change your behavior. Behavior may be difficult to change. But if you change your speech, if you change the way you speak to people, automatically something to do with what? The money problems will also disappear. So if somebody is saying, I'm having money problem, then say, no, you're not having money problem. You're having speech problem. You need to go about and change the way you speak or learn how to speak at least, right? That's very important. So now write down when the second from Mercury, see, the second bhava in my horoscope is afflicted. Now, what is it affecting me? Is it affecting my eye? Is it affecting my father? Is it affecting my family? Is it affecting my speech? What is it affecting me? Is it affecting my basic education? I need to get into the chase of that. So for that, you need to actually go about and segregate. And what is this process of segregation called? Write down. It is called as Bhava and Grahas, which means you need to connect the Bhavas and Grahas. So continue writing. When the second from Mercury, see, again I'm repeating, when I'm saying the second from Mercury, yes, I'm referring to the Rashi, but most importantly, I'm referring to the Lord of that Rashi. Let's say Mercury is here. When I'm referring to the second, obviously I'm referring to Buddha itself, right? Why? Because he's the Rashi Lord. We are referring to the Adhipati. We are referring to the Lordship. Sir, but can I take consideration on the Graha which is there? Yes, you can definitely take that into a consideration, but give importance to the Lordship more, right? That is what I'm trying to refer, right? So when the second from Mercury is getting into a Bala, when the second from Mercury is getting into a Bala, then automatically the Vak or the speech will be good. The Vak or the speech will be good. Now, there can be another doubt that all of you will have, or you may have. Post you, listen to it later on. Sir, you are telling second from Mercury, second from Shukra. I have a Lagna, no, sir. Right? Let's say my Lagna is a Makara Lagna, right? And now I've looked into that second Bhava. Okay, good. Now you're telling me, in order to go about and see about my speech, you're telling me the second from Mercury. So if the second from Mercury, you're saying it should be positioned well, which is 5, 9, 11. So from where are you referring to? Are you referring it to the Lagna here? Are you referring it to Mercury here? I'm obviously referring to Mercury, right? So you obviously need to convert the Graha itself as a Bhava, right? So first what do? You check the second Bhava. Then when we are referring to the individual traits of a person, which means when we are referring to the facial beauty, Shukra. When we are referring to being with the family, being with the father, Sun. But at this point in time, when we are referring to, when we are referring to something to do with what speech, Mercury. So this becomes the Lagna here. So keep that in mind, right? So when the second from Mercury is getting into a Bala, then he will have a prowess of speech. His speech will be good. His speech will be sweet. When the second from Mercury has a Subhagraha, or when the second from Mercury is aspected by a Subhagraha, like for example, in this case, let's say Mithuna is aspected by a Shubhagraha or has a Shubhagraha. In this case, I've written Guru itself. Then automatically what would happen? He will speak well. He will know how to talk. So here, first thing you need to understand is, if somebody has to succeed in life, the basic thing that somebody needs to learn in life is speech, speaking skills. As long as the Vakisthana is good, then automatically something to do with finances would also automatically be good. Next. Here, as I already told you, Rahu indicates the tongue. So here, when the second from Buddha and the second from Rahu, when it is afflicted, next point, when it is afflicted, then the person will stammer. The person will stammer, or there would be a delayed speech. Remember what I told you? Let's say when I'm talking about a Rahu here, now when I'm talking about the second from Rahu, I won't go here, right? I won't go here, which means what? Let's say Rahu is here, right? When I'm talking about the second from Rahu, I won't go here. I have to go this way, which means I need to go reverse. I need to go here. So the second from Rahu would be what? It would be Karaka Rashi. right? Which means you need to go in a reverse motion. Again, I'm repeating, see, every rule that you're getting, first you try, you see with, the horoscopes that you have in hand, you try out with different horoscopes. Then if you have any doubts, you ask me. Only once, the rules are satiated upon, you should move to the next level, right? So when the second from Buddha, when the second from Rahu is afflicted, then the person will stammer, the person will stutter, and there would be a delay in speech. Rahu is what? Your tongue. If you just open your mouth and extend your tongue, how does it look like? It looks like a snake. The speech or the quality of speech in that is Buddha, right? So the moment the second from Buddha and the second from Rahu is afflicted, the Vak Sthana is afflicted. As I told you, remedy for earnings itself is change your speech, change the way you talk, your earnings will automatically improve in life. Next is Mercury is basic education, which is still +2. We are referring to Mercury. Of course, Mercury is a Buddhi Karaka. The use of Mercury is important. All of this is agreed. But since we are considering the second Bhava here, and since we are considering the primary education here, right? Primary education till 12th, right? So we are considering the Karaka as Mercury. So when the second from Mercury is afflicted, then automatically the basic education, which is till 12th, will be affected. When the second from Mercury is getting into a Bala, then the formative education or the basic education till 12th will be good. You see, for people, those who have the second from Mercury afflicted, there will be breaks in education, right? There would be barriers in education. Let's say the second from Mercury is afflicted and there is a Shubha Graha associated again. Then what? There would be a break and this person will be able to come away or get away from that barrier and he will succeed. You will find cases where, you have children who will go to school. First standard, they would fail. Second standard, they would get second rank. So this is the combination here. The second from Mercury, right, will be afflicted. But then, you know what? You will have something to do with the Guru Drishti, right? You would have something to do with the Jupiter Drishti, like let's say. So problems will be there, but this person will come away from that barrier, right? So the way you actually layer your predictions is very, very simple. See, let's say the second from Mercury is a Ketu, not in this case, but let's say here, right? And let's say Guru is here, right? So here there would be a barrier in education, but then Mercury is also Ucha. And here, Guru is also aspecting that second. Then automatically what would happen? Later on, this person will do well. So one small barrier and after that, goodness will prevail. This rule applies to all the other things also that I told. This is the rule. So you should go about and test, try, keep working on this rule. And you should go about and report your results immediately, one by one. This is the horoscope. This is what I saw. This is what I see. So how will it be? Right? So you should go on giving me one testimony after another testimony by applying the rules that is being shared to you. Right? Next, when we are referring to habits, remember we spoke about the second bhava, which indicates habits, especially when it comes to, when it comes to your habits, how your habits would be, automatically you need to look into the second from Moon and the second from Rahu, right? Which means whenever there is something to do with bad habits, the associations or something to do with the grahas associated here in anybody's life would be Moon and Rahu. Which means it is moon, it is Rahu, which actually goes about and gives you bad habits. So you should be very, very careful. Right? So when the second from moon, right, and when the second from Rahu, remember the second from Rahu, you should look at it reverse, is afflicted, then the person will succumb to bad habits. So whenever you see the second from Rahu afflicted, whenever you see the second from moon afflicted, you should tell this person, don't get into any bad habits, right? If you get into any bad habits, of course, Shukra also has a very important role, as I keep telling students. But here we are discussing about the second bhava. So let's focus here. So you should tell this person, don't get into any bad habits. You will not be able to come away from it. You should be a little careful, right? When the second from moon and the second from Rahu, when the second from moon and the second from Rahu, both, right? Now you may ask this question, sir, what if one is Bala, the other is Balavina? Good. Still you will be able to come out of it. Don't worry, right? But when the second, see, whenever there is a problem, see, there are certain gray areas in your life, but there are certain black and white areas. You have this problem. This is your nature. This is your character. This is your habit. This is your finances. This is your husband. This is your wife. This is black and white in your life. So we are trying to actually go about and get into the black and white as far as your life is concerned, right? So the reason I'm saying moon and Rahu, this will give you a clear-cut indication. Okay, this person drinks. This person smokes, right? So when the second from Chandra, when the second from Rahu is getting into a Bala, then he won't get bad habits. Even if he gets bad habits, habits like what? Drinking, smoking, right? It will change, right? It will change. When the second from moon and the second from Rahu is afflicted, and right in front of you, he will come and smoke. Right? Hello, how are you, sir? How are you, sir? What is the course today? What is the session today? Right? He will come right in front of you and smoke. Right? That is when the second from moon and Rahu is afflicted. Let us say the second from moon and Rahu is afflicted, and if there is a Subhagraha Drishti, then this will happen. He will come out of it. He will smoke. But you know what would happen? He would not smoke when he's coming for classes. He would not smoke in front of me. He smokes, but when he's in front of me, he will give respect. Okay, I'm in front of teacher. Now let's say the second from Chandra is afflicted, but the second from Rahu has a Guru Drishti. What does Rahu mean? Reverse. So again, this person will come to me. He will have a cigarette, but he will be keeping the cigarette behind his back. He won't show it in front of me. So there are amusing ways as to how when you look at a person, when you look at the behavior of the person itself, you will be able to go about and interpret what is there in his horoscope. So like this, there are so many ways that you can actually go about and interpret. When the second from moon and the second from Rahu are getting into a Bala, then this person can get into a export-related business. See, export-related business means it does not always have to be that you have to export some produce or a product to a foreign land. No. So if you're producing something, if you have something, if you sell it 100 kilometers away from your place, that is also export business. 100 miles away from your place, that is also export business, right? Which means here, anything to do with the second from moon, second from Rahu, when it gets into a Bala, then automatically it means what? Something to do with a person who can be encouraged to actually get into a export related business, right? Next, teeth. See, the Bhava, obviously, we are referring to the second Bhava. The Karaka Graha here is Mars. So what is the rule here you should look at? First, I check the second Bhava as per the Lagna. I see if it is afflicted. If it is not afflicted, okay, don't worry. Why are you going this far? But now I want to actually pinpoint something in his life. What you can do is, first you can confirm with the second bhava. Sometimes the confirmation may not directly come from the second bhava. Why? Because there is a concept of tithi shoonya or dagdha rashi. There is a concept of MAANDI. There is a concept of BADHAKA. There is a reason I had a complete class for all of you people for one entire month. Why? Because sometimes predictions are not directly on your face. It happens in hidden forms. It happens in hidden fashion. So you need to actually come into that conclusion. But let's say you miss out on that. Then immediately look into the second from that graha. It will immediately go about and give you an answer and then get back to that second bhava, right? So you can do a switch this way or that way. So when the second from Mars is afflicted, which means what? There is a Ashubha Graha or it is associated with the Ashubha Graha, right? Which means, let's say the second from Mars has a Shani or has a Ketu, right? Or if the second from Mars is getting into a debilitation, right? That means he will have problems or he will have to undergo treatment, medical treatment associated with what? Associated with his teeth. See, one is you're writing down, you need to implement each and every one of them using each and every horoscope that you're getting. So for all practicing astrologers, implementation is the key to understanding astrology, right? So please make sure that you do that. You see, all people in a very young age, those who, had some treatment pertaining to their teeth, who fell down, broke their teeth, all of that will be clearly reflected from the horoscope itself, right? To give you an example, so here, Dhanusha Lagna, Mars. The second bhava has a Ketu. Okay, for people in the north, we put 9, right? Mars in the Lagna. So first I'm checking the second bhava. Automatically, the second bhava has a Ketu. Okay, what does this Ketu mean? Does it mean a study is what? Mars. Teeth. The second from Mars has Ketu. So, problems pertaining to the teeth. Till now, he's having problems pertaining to the teeth. Right. Now, here you also need to understand another important thing. In this horoscope, Shukra and Chandra. So automatically when it comes to what? Remember I told you, Shukra is associated with Chandra here, which means moon. What does moon mean? Automatically I'm talking about what? The habits of the person. The second from moon, Shukra, is debilitated. So something to do with this. Habits also needs to be checked till he grows. So this is the way you should be able to go about and guide your clients, right? Which means, what is the problem? Second is fine. Does it mean he will be away from his parents? Does it mean tomorrow he will have problems with his wife? Does it mean primary education will be a problem? So you need to dissect bit by bit. You need to dissect piece by piece. So this is very important, right? Which means whenever you see something like this, you need to go about and dissect the horoscope bit by bit in order to go about and get an answer. See, basically what do they say? When the second from the Lagna has a Ashubha Graha, right? Automatically it indicates a bad habit. So Ketu in that second bhava. Does it mean all people, and we also call this, what do we call this? We call this Nagadosha. So for people who have attended the marriage matching masterclass, automatically they would know this. But does it mean everybody who has a Ketu in the second bhava, they are having a bad habit? No. So what does it reflect on? Does it reflect on this? Does it reflect on that? That is where you need to actually go about and use the here. What would happen? Something to do with habits, careful. Something to do with separation from the mother, possible. All of this automatically will happen. But first is, the reason I put this chart is in order to explain problems associated with teeth, right? So this is what we call as Grahas and bhavas. Connecting grahas and bhavas or connecting bhavas and graha. This is a very, very important aspect of astrology. In fact, I'm immediately taking you all from the intermediate level to astrology to the higher level of astrology. All these little things are the things which are discussed in the higher stages of astrology. But since we are covering the second bhava, it is very, very, very important to cover this also, because when you actually cover this also, there would be a lot of clarity when you approach a horoscope, right? Which means when we get into the third bhava, what I would do the same thing in the third bhava. So we've learned for habits. We have learned for teeth. We have learned for speech. We have learned, we have used Mercury and Rahu for speech. We have learned for export business also. See, remember, export is different, import is different. So don't confuse both of them, right? Then we have also studied for whether this person would be together with the father, mother, or will be separated, right? All this facial beauty we have studied, which means even when it comes to finances, we have segregated. What type of finances? Are we talking about daily money? Are we talking about big money? Are we talking about a flow of money? Are we talking about savings in general? So we have segregated that. Now, I would get a little more deeper into the second bhava. So next you can write down lips. LIPS, your lip. Remember we spoke about the lip, right? So which is the Karaka Graha for your lip? It is Rahu. See, all of you just close your mouth, right? Don't open your mouth, close your mouth and look into the mirror if possible, right? If you have a mirror nearby, you look into your lip, there would be lines and lines like the snake, right? So lip is equal to Rahu, right? Would just be like what? You would have lines like the snake. Even when you open your mouth, it is like, how the snake opens his mouth wide. So write down